Well there, look at AMC go. You're up 6% here on the day, breaking out above a key level. This means odds are we get much bigger upside from here. If it's the MOAS, I don't know. If it's just another multi 100% rally, I don't know. But something much larger is coming. We did get confirmation of this today. I can officially report to all of you. So let's go ahead and get into this very exciting information. Now, we also must give an update on the broader markets and what's going on with this Israel situation. What we are seeing today is not exactly good. Not exactly a good sign for markets, and stocks could continue to fall from here. Now, today you did see a green day, which is actually a little bit surprising considering what's actually happening out there in our market. So let's go ahead and get into it. First things first, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comments section. So AMC stock today up a solid 6.16% at the time of recording this video at $9.83 per share. We will come back to talk about this AMC, all the data, the technicals, everything you need to know in regards to AMC, but I think it's also equally as important to discuss this situation with Israel because, I mean, this is probably going to get worse before it gets better, and what you're seeing today is actually a fear move. So when you get fear moves, you want to pay attention to this. Forget what happens in the markets. What's the money doing today? So let's start here. So this says 100 killed in one kibbutz as Israelis told to prepare to spend days in bomb shelters. It says Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin has said his country's response to Hamas's incursion will reverberate with them for generations, hours after the militant group said it will kill civilian hostages if Israel doesn't issue warnings ahead of bombings. It said it will kill one Israeli hostage to any new bombing, so, could be a pretty bad situation there. Israel, as we reported earlier, has ordered a complete siege of the Gaza Strip. That means no food in or out, no water in or out, no electricity in or out. And like I said in the last video, that's why I think this is going to be a quick kind of event. I think that, or I should say, I don't think Israel is going to starve 2.3 million people and, let them just waste away. That's not what I think is going to happen. I think they're doing this now, and they're probably going to invade Gaza here pretty soon as well, probably by tonight. Late tonight. It's going to be like tomorrow morning, early morning hours. Roughly, if my time zone mental math is correct, that would be like 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You're going to be like early morning, maybe around 8 p.m. over there, and I would be surprised if you don't see Israel going into the Gaza Strip at that point. So let's be honest, their goal here is to completely eradicate Hamas. They don't want this to be a threat anymore. They are going to tear down all of Hamas. Hamas will be gone after this is over, okay? Same what we did. By we, I mean the U.S. did to ISIS and did to other terrorist groups, basically wipe them off the face of the planet, at least to the extent in which they had been operating. They're no longer around to that extent today. So I'm not going to sit here and blame them. I'm not going to play politics. The problem is the uncertainty here, is around energy for one, but the bigger uncertainty is what happens when Israel does go in there and clear out Hamas. Does Iran retaliate for that? Does Israel retaliate against Iran because Iran completely funded the operation, gave them the intellect to do this, gave them the weapons to do this, encouraged them to do this? By them, I mean Hamas. Israel might just attack Iran. And if I'm reading this correctly, Israel is telling Israel people, not just like West Bank people, to be prepared to bunker down for 3 days or potentially longer. So I don't know if they're just expecting retaliation from Hamas or Iran, or who knows exactly what they mean. That's a good point to point out. But you do have 9 Americans that have been confirmed dead, with a further 3 missing. 10 people from Britain that are confirmed dead as well. So not a great situation. If we go ahead and take a look at some of these bullet points here, it says, in other key developments, Hamas open to discussing truce with Israel. Israel's not going to do that. Israel is going to eradicate Hamas. That's just the fact of the matter. And that could be another justifiable reason for Iran to get in the middle of this, or other Arab states, because if you're trying to draw a truce and you just got eradicated after trying to make a truce, I mean, that's just not a good situation, okay? Hundreds attend a Jewish community vigil in London. Israel claims it killed infiltrators crossing from Lebanon. Qatar, I don't know how to say that one right, mediating between sides for exchange of civilian hostages, Sky News understands. Israeli military striking targets inside Lebanese territory. And the Israeli prime minister says U.S. is supporting Israel in every way. So a couple different developing situations. I think the markets, as far as today, this is a fake out, guys. This is a algorithmic move because it looks like yields are going lower. This has nothing to do with how stocks are going to trade from here. Let me explain this a little bit more. What you've seen today was a fear move. So TLT, the bonds, were up 2.35%, up another 0.06% here in after hours. The money bought bonds today. Take a look at this chart. This is the chart going back a long time, right? Before COVID. What you'll see is during times of fear, true fear out there, investors will buy the bonds. Like what you've seen during COVID, right? Investors aggressively bought the bonds. You've seen a very aggressive move up in the course of just a couple of days. That's because people were fearful. They wanted safety, right? If the markets could potentially get destroyed and clapped, well, treasuries don't look bad for a select, period of time. So that is a big problem that you'll see today. Now, TLT actually going higher means yields are going lower. So yields going lower should not be happening when oil is up 4% today, when there's fears of, or should be fears of, more inflationary pressures to come. Now, just to add on top of that, the Strait of Iran, well, about 30% of the world's oil flows through there. So if Iran wanted to do a similar kind of blockade of that Israel is doing to the Gaza Strip, they could just stop the flow of oil. They're capable of doing that if they wanted to. If they did get into a conflict, that would have massive effects on oil. That would have a huge effect on inflation. You would probably see $10, $15 gallons of gas. You would literally push everything into a recession. If that happened for a prolonged period of time, you would literally halt the economy. That would be on a whole new level of crazy, okay? So there's a real possible risk there that inflation could be really bad, right? And that would just not be great. So TLT rising, investors buying the bonds should really not be happening if you're faced with this possible outcome, which is very inflationary. Now, on top of that, you did see a big rally in gold today. So gold rises during fearful times as well. Back in March was the last time we seen a big spike in gold. And that's kind of coinciding with the Fed, when the Fed started raising rates, right? Back here in August of 2022, the second round of COVID, kind of fears there as well. Back here in 2020, gold actually fell, but it did rise initially. So gold rising is also kind of a fear gauge, and that's not the greatest thing you want to see. So what the markets have been doing recently, yields higher, stocks lower. Today, yields went lower, stocks went higher. You shouldn't be seeing this. You shouldn't be seeing investors buying the bonds if oil is up 4%. Did the fears of inflation just all of a sudden go away? Well, obviously people are more protected in getting some safety in their portfolios. Now, I think this did have a positive effect to the trading algorithms. I think this could be a fake out. I mean, don't trade based off of what I say, but that seems like the most obvious thing that's happening today. A lot of people aren't going to look at TLT. They're not going to look at gold. They're not going to care. They're just going to see stocks going up, and they're going to get faked out. Don't be the one that gets faked out. Now, with AMC stock in particular, you never know how the stock's going to react on bad news or good news or on any given day. AMC could inverse the markets, or it could be correlated to a deep degree with the markets. So whatever happens over the next really 24 hours here or so, I think we'll have a little bit more insight on Israel's response, and then the markets are going to judge things accordingly at that time. I think probably, like I said, in the next 12 hours or so, you're probably going to get Israel heading into the Gaza Strip. I don't think Israel's trying to starve, literally kill 2.3 million people, just cut them off from everything. I don't think that's the case. So I think this is going to happen quickly. There's going to be some action taken very quickly by Israel. So don't expect to wait a long time for new developments. At least I am not. And that is something that could affect AMC. It could affect the markets, so keep that on your radar. Now, AMC stock in particular broke out above $9.50 per share. That was your major level. That is that confirmation level that I just said in the beginning of this video. That was the level in which if you held a close above $9.50, then the odds of a much larger rally to the upside get a lot better. So from here, your next resistance level, small one around $10 per share. Obviously, that's just a given. Above that, about $12 per share, you'd be filling this lower end gap, this really bad day you had back here on September 6th, where AMC stock fell about 37%. If you got back to about $12 per share, you would fill that. And then from there, you make your way to that 50-day moving average at $19.44 per share. Now, like we have said in many videos, there's a lot of reasons to expect a rally here. Put to call ratio has fallen off a cliff. The option activity is overwhelmingly bullish now on AMC, something you have not seen in a very long time. AMC stock is just overall really oversold. So, and heading into 2024, it doesn't make sense to be short in AMC when your risk is potentially seeing a multi-100% rally, and your potential gain could be like 30%, right? You could fall back down a couple dollars, but odds are that AMC does not go much, below $7 per share. Even in a worst case scenario, a bad scenario for the markets, you probably fall to $5 per share. That's not worth it if you're risking a potential rally of $20, $30, $40, $50 plus. So I do think on a risk to reward basis, it looks poor to be short in AMC, and that's also another reason why AMC stock could rally from here. Now, if we go ahead and take a look over here on the Ortex data, you will see you have a short score of 66, $213 million worth of short positions in AMC stock, estimated short interest of free float at 11.62%, free float out on loan at 14.92%, shares out on loan 29.51 million. Days to cover 1.87, cost to borrow 2.03, utilization of 64.46. So you are seeing some interesting numbers here, and they haven't even updated for right now, like the shares out on loan. That is doing some super weird things here. It went from 26 million to 32 million, back down to 29.5 million. Who knows where a lot of this data is really at, but I do think ultimately there's a lot of synthetic shorts. There's a lot of shorts that are being covered up that will probably start getting closed out as we do break above $10 per share, make our way to that 50-day moving average around $19 per share. If you take a look at the option activity on the call side, you got about 33,532 calls in the money, 46,000 calls out the money. In the money puts at 3,152. I mean, 10 times less than the calls in the money, and out the money puts at 44,221, so even less puts out the money than calls out the money. So the option activity this week, the next couple of weeks, for the foreseeable future is a lot more bullish than what you have seen recently. And if you take a look at the option activity, like I said here with the put to call ratio, that's at 0.75, so much better than what you are used to over the past year, right? This is the lowest point you've been at. So again, if there was any time to be bullish or take on a bullish position in AMC, I think it's pretty clear it's right now. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a financial planner. Come to your own conclusions, all of that good stuff. I do want to point out before we go ahead and wrap up this video, the treasuries were not actually trading today. So when I say bond yields were higher, I know somebody's going to comment down below and say bonds didn't trade today. You're exactly 100% correct, but futures did. So the futures traded today. So you have a pretty good sense of the implied open of bonds, as futures really guide where bonds ultimately go. And that was a massive rally in TLT, a really big fear move. I would guess, based on this 2.35% up move in TLT, the 30, 10, 20-year treasuries probably dropped by about 15 basis points or so. I'm sure there's a way to actually calculate this, but they probably dropped by about 15 basis points. That is a big move down for treasuries, a really big fear move. So be careful out there, guys. Be careful out there seeing the markets today, how you recovered, and thinking all is well and fine. Now, like I've said many times, the markets can handle bad news. They can't handle uncertainty. Right now, we just have a lot of bad news, right? We have uncertainty, but any day where you have uncertainty like we do right now, potentially the U.S. getting involved, Iran, potentially 30% of oil could be cut off at any time. No news is good news. No further kind of multinational war news is good. As long as, you don't hear Israel has attacked Iran or Iran attacked Israel, the markets are going to do okay. Now, if that does happen, then I would imagine stocks could probably fall like 5 to 10%, upon that news actually coming out, guys. So that is going to go ahead and do it for this video. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.